to about like S8, S9. You take a couple of deep fades. They're fast fades, so it's a good thing. So I'm able to copy, and I downloaded this software the other day. It's Woodbox Radio, and it's like an S meter it's like an old school analog S meter, like a dial for the Flex, and this thing is so cool. And the Flex, it gives you, like, if you look in the box, it's like, yeah, S9 plus 10 plus 20 plus 10. It really doesn't give you a whole lot. And I downloaded this software, and this thing is the friggin' balls, man. I love it. It's like an old like your 765 that we're talking about here. It's like a regular S meter, man. It's cool. But anyway, that's the condition. You're sounding good up here, and all is good, man. We had a little freezing rain today. It cooked up to about 40 some degrees this afternoon, and I was busy with my regular job and eBay, so life is good, man. KM4XG, this is W2EN.
Yeah, that is so weird. Didn't hear the first peep on the antenna here, Bob. That's crazy. I wonder, do you find that you get better propagation going north and going south? I mean, up to the northeast versus, say, southwest?
No, not really. I mean, my antenna is it's about 130 feet long, fed with what Timmy would call the crappy brown stuff, and it's like 40 feet on one side, maybe 35 feet on the other side. So I really can't with a straight face say that it's directional at all, only because it's not at 60 feet. At 60 feet plus, you would see some kind of directionality, but on 75 meters at that height, I wouldn't consider anything.
Oh, man, that's so weird. How about you, Brett? Do you get one-way propagation sometimes?
No, I've never noticed anything like that.
The only one-way propagation that I get is if I'm trying to contact somebody and they don't want to talk to me, and they don't key up and talk back. That is the only one-way propagation I get here.
Yeah, or maybe when you run QRP.
Well, it seems to be a constant feature here.
Hell, I get that kind of one-way propagation all the time.
Yeah, I hear Charlie. Hello, Charlie.
Hey, Charlie, what's happening, brother?
Same old, same old. Just came down from supper. Sitting here listening to the noise. I think I'm going to start trying to build a receive antenna. In the kind of the design of the Zenith wave magnet, where you're bringing up, you're taking a very small area to receive, not 200 feet of wire all over the place for this noise to get in. Something very small, but then just, amplify the signal that comes in with the receiver. Right now I have to run the RF gain half off. If I've got it wide open, the noise is unbearable. And everybody's signal, QSB, there's always QSB on this band. Somebody that hears perfectly Q5, 2 seconds later, the little dip, and the noise completely overwhelms them. So I've got some ideas in my head here I'm going to play around with probably this weekend.
Hey, Charlie, not for nothing. All right, just want to make sure I had it. Not for nothing. ferret loaded loop, man. I took an AM broadcast ferret loaded loop with the whatever turn, the low turns on one side and the high turns on the other side, and I put a 365 puff cap on the high side, and I fed the low turn side to, and I bought this preamp for like $1 each. I bought like, I forget, 3 or 4 of them at Limemark. Dude, this was like 35 years ago. It was a 3-stage preamp, so the first stage is noise figure, the second stage is gain, the third stage is output impedance, and I threw this thing on a plexiglass board, and I did it on the cheap. I ran some sheet metal screws, old school, with the soldering iron, heated them, and ran the screws into the plexiglass, heated, self-drilling, blah, blah, blah. And anyway, threw a 9-volt battery in there, threw another piece of plexiglass on the bottom. Hey, dude, I'll tell you, this is the best receiving antenna I have ever had in my life. And I'm telling you, it was like many, many years ago. I've got like diamond loops, I got square loops, I got all kind of loop antennas here at the house. But this little gizmo that I put together, I don't know, how many years ago, has performed really, really well, and I love it. And check it out, man. Think about doing a mag loop, like a mini mag loop, not like the tired everyday QAR mag loop, the mini one that you could just do in a box. And I bought a bunch of boards from a guy.
How about finding a noise and just asking him to unplug it?
Like CASA, like KASA, something or other, like online. And I bought a bunch of boards from this guy, and he does this with like the dual differential, the 2-wire loop input into some kind of LF 131 or something like that. I think the chip was, and it's got a little bit of gain, but it basically is it's dual differential. It's balanced. That goes in, and it's got a little bit of gain, and really, really cool boards. And one of my many projects is to throw one of those in a polycarbonate enclosure, throw it outside with a solar panel,
old buzzard
battery inside, and run like a piece of RG-174 back to the shack here, and that is what I want to put on my tower. And again, it's one of my many projects that's on the list, and good times. N1XCW, this is W2ENY.
Why don't you track the noise down and just ask him to unplug whatever's making the noise?
Yeah, or like get a bunch of your friends over and get a couple of bats and just storm the house.
Yes. Evening, W301.
Good evening, Perry.
What's up, brother? Hey, you didn't say man.
Man. Sorry, man.
So, what do you want for the 756, Bob?
Oh, what do you want to buy it? I was just going to send it down to you to use. No big deal. Hey, listen, I just upgraded to a 7600, and I still have 4 ICOM 756s here, so those are going to be going out the door, and I think it's going to be like the $5 kind of thing.
Okay, I see. Well, that's a generous offer. Nice thing to do. It's a lot of work to go through. You know, packing and shipping and all that stuff. This is not a small radio. It's quite nice of you. I think I can probably get by, though. I mean, it's not as if I'm off the air altogether. And, yeah, I think I'll get the 756 back together pretty soon. You know, that's a relative term. I don't know, do you think? It depends, I guess, on how long you guys will still talk to me while I'm on this radio.
It's still going to sound like an ICOM, though.
Yep.
Yeah, I agree with that. It's still going to sound like an ICOM. I'll tell you, man, you know, the 756, yeah, I have 4 of them, and it's like, you know, I got that. I remember when I bought it. I bought it at Ham Central over Poughkeepsie, and I remember I forget what I was pissed off at my wife about that day, but our youngest, who is now I believe 24, put her in the car seat, and I drove over to Ham Central. It was, I don't know, 40 minutes away or whatever, up in Po-Town, and anyway, picked up the ICOM 756, brought it back here, and I loved it, and it's been a great radio for a lot of years, the original one, that is, and then it developed the lines, and I sold that, I want to say like 2 years ago. A guy on QRZ was looking for one for parts, and I ended up selling it to him for, I don't know, $300 or $350, whatever it was, and anyway, he was happy, but that was the original that I bought, and yeah, it's 25 years ago or whatever, 24 years ago, blah blah blah, and yeah, I got a bunch of other ones here that I picked up, and yeah, I probably, yeah, let's not understand what the pair of them is probably around $500, and but yeah, I upgraded to 7600 last week. And I am so pissed off because the day that I paid Ham Radio Outlet out in Ohio the money for that radio, I saw a 7700 come up on QTH for like about $800 more, and I really am pissed off at myself for not waiting, because I would have bought that 7700 in a second, because that thing would look so great above my Kenwood 950, because I moved all the sideband gear to the rack, so I could put the 32V2 and 75A1 on the desk here, and the 7700 is it's got the dual receive thing. It's like dual IF and everything. So I mean, I don't do a whole lot of contesting anymore, but if I was going to do it all right, it'd be as close to the ICOM 756 or 775 that I used to have, and that would be really cool. But I missed out on that one, and oh well.
Yeah, too bad. Well, sounds like a fella could have a lot of fun by buying and selling radios. You know, buy them, use them for a little while, turn around and sell them on eBay or whatever. Yeah, I wouldn't feel comfortable taking this one from you, though, unless, you know, I was going to buy it from you. So that's a whole different equation. I mean, you know, because something could happen in shipping, you know, something could happen to it while it was here, you know, it could get damaged, I could blow it up, you know, something like that. So, but I appreciate the offer. That's really cool. Yeah, I thought you wanted to sell it.
Go ahead, Bob.
Yeah, I am going to end up selling all three of the Jesus, I forget. All 3 or 4 of them, and that's going to be about the number I'm going to get out of it. But I figured I'd send it down to you, and you play around with it, and if you like it, fine. If you don't, fine. Whatever.
Yeah, man. Ham Fairy strikes again.
Now, is that a straight
Yeah, man.
756, not a Pro or a Pro 1, 2, or 3, just a 756?
Yeah, the original. You know what? The 756 Pro series, I've never run the 2 or the 3, but 756 Pro, they did something to it, and I hated it. On CW, especially, and I don't know what they did to it, but all I got to say is that, yeah, and I am not a big CW guy, but I did back in those days. I did do CW via computer in all the contests, and the thing. The computer doesn't copy CW like perfectly, so it's like you at least have to be CW receive knowledge sensitive, okay? Because the software is not perfect, and there was something about when they came out with the Pro, it pissed me off, and there was some quirk in the CW that I really hated about it. And there you go. This is WTB1. And you know what? The best CW radio I ever had here, and I had 2 of them, was an ICOM 775, and I had one with a dual 500 hertz, and the other was a dual 250 hertz, and you know what? The 500 hertz was plenty good to me, and I absolutely love that radio.
Those things are pretty old these days.
Those didn't they have an issue with the displays going out on those, or was it the original 756 or the 756 Pro? I know they had like the Pro 2 and then the Pro 3, and I know one had, or maybe all of them had a display issue, but the one that sticks out to me obviously is the the Pro 3. That's the most popular one, I think.
Yeah, the original 756 had this issue where the thing would develop like these lines across the display, and then like half of the display would get like wicked lines and stuff. And anyway, that was the original one that I bought from Ham Central a lot of years ago. The other ones that I have here have no display issue, but that was a common problem over time.
Lines.
"25 years old now. Man, that's how time flies."
Doesn't take long, does it?
No, it's kind of weird that, digital radios with computer chips in them, and they're like, they're old.
Quickly old. They
I had a Pro, and I had a Pro 2 and 3. And I didn't really think there was a big difference between the 2 and the 3. But when I was looking for something similar, I got the 7600 because I didn't want to get a radio that old. Even the Pro 3s are getting to be old. And when something craps out, you'll find like, oh, they don't make the output transistors anymore. ICOM doesn't support it. And then you got a doorstop that you paid a lot of money for.
That's a good point. They the finals, a lot of them are using the Toshiba 2879s, which they don't make anymore, and they're like $200 a piece now, or more. I know where there's some hordes of them, but there's replacements, but there's ferrite material, core material, and the transformers should be changed, and the windings on the input and output transformers are supposed to change. So it's not like the new HG 2879s are direct drop-ins. So that's a good point, man. Like, you wouldn't have thought 20 years ago, like, oh, this thing will be obsolete. Things inside of this we will not be able to find in the next 20 years. I doubt anybody who bought one new was thinking that was on their mind when they bought it.
Yeah, like, I think anybody who buys a Ten-Tech's got to be out of their mind. You put down like $1,200 for an Orion or something, and then the display processor goes out, and then it's like, well, sorry.
You gotta wonder if the same thing's gonna happen with these LD MOS amplifiers.
Well, that's why Gordon was talking about LD MOS today, and you know what? That's why Gordon was talking about. Oh no. LD MOS today, and sorry, Barry, I just put up your link here. and I was hearing my own voice. I'm like, oh no, save me. Anyway, good times. Yeah, Paris, Gordon was talking about LD MOS here, and you know what? I bought an LD MOS amp, 600 watt, from this guy down in Florida, and I'm not going to name names, but anyway, bottom line is, the thing I ran a 48 volt Toco DC supply into it, and aside from the fan noise issue, which was somewhat on my part, the thing has wicked harmonics, and I mean to the point that I was running like Viswar like 5 to 1. All right, I took an antenna and I pre-tuned it with my Icom 756 with the Johnson Matchbox going in.
This. 1 2 2 2. 2 2 2 2. Hello, 1 2 2 2 2 2 2 2 2 2 2 1 2 1 2.
Going back into the amp was like epic fail. It's like, why am I doing this? And anyway, I wasn't a big fan of it. So bottom line was, I had like $600 invested in this thing. I blew it out for $400 on eBay, and it's gone. So there you have it. This is W2EMY.
Good evening to Phil, if that's Phil out there.
Sometimes I'm mistaken for Perry. W2PHO Bob. I thought there were two Bobs for a second, and that really scared me. W2PHO.
Hey, Phil. KM4XG.
Hey, Jim, and hello to Brett as well. I think that's everybody, but I can't be certain. Just listening here.
Yeah, man. Sounding good down here, Phil. Yeah, LD MOS amps, man, those are the wave of the future. Ride the wave.
Yeah, they're fun, and I think I might get one at one point in time, but I don't know, because, you got a tube amp, you just pop in a new tube. But those things, there's some work to be done. And as you mentioned with the 2879s, it's like sometimes they're a little different. You gotta start changing caps and coils and all that fun stuff. And then that whole unit is like soldered in there. So that's a procedure to get out as well.
That's right. Yeah, it's usually not just, let's pull up these 4 tabs and then the transistor pops out. Those suckers aren't easy to get out of there, man. Well, excuse me. They weren't easy to get out of Class C CB amplifiers, let alone inside of an HF rig that you got to take multiple circuit boards out just to be able to see them.
The output transistors in 7610 are real easy to replace. I was very surprised how easy it was.
Really? What is the 7610 use?
Hold on a second, I'll find them. Where did I put them? I'll have to look for them. I have to figure out what I did with them.
All right.
I haven't done it in a while, but I used to turn the rig upside down and unsolder it upside down and use gravity to let the transistors fall out.
I never thought of that.
Hey Perry, I guess for your feed, I guess my buddy Ferris has got to send your friend request on HeyBook.
Crap. No, I just got to make it public because I'm an asshole, and I forgot to do that. But he can send me a request, yeah. What I forget to make it public a lot of the times, and on my normal profile, but yeah, tell him to send me a request, but I'm making it public right now.
Yeah, right on, brother.
I think that's cool about your new digitally simulated S-meter. That's the thing I miss about this rig, the S-meter. Icom has have really nice S-meters, multifunction meters, and they work good and they look nice. Like Steve's, the Steve-O-meter, the same kind of deal, right? Digitally simulated analog meters. That is way cool.
Hey, Bob. I forgot to mention that. I've had that Woodbox meter, that Bob S meter, for probably 4 years. A while. I love it. That's what you see it on my stream if I remember to open it. But it's a condensed version of it that I chopped up a little bit to put on my stream. But no, I use the Woodbox a lot. Like I said, I just got to remember to open it. It's really cool.
Does it live on your computer? Is it software, Barry?
Yeah, it's a separate software that is controlled via cat commands, via the Anon. So you just go in, you set up a COM port pair, virtual serial port pair, and it's literally 2 clicks and it's set up.
I love it, man. The Woodbox radio. Man, I need to get like a small TFT display, like 4.3 inch or whatever, with a little power supply, and stick that like in a wood box and like varnish it. Oh, you know how cool that would look on the shack.
I know Yaesu. Well, is it Yaesu? I think it's Yaesu. They make external S meters that you could I'm sure just take it out of the plastic case it's in and put it in a nice wood varnished case. Then you could plug it into I'm sure it'd be easy enough to hook up on between different rigs.
Yeah, right on, man. Hey, Ferris just sent you a friend request, so maybe you can go hook him up. Faris is called N2FH.
Word. All right, yeah, let me log in to the book.
Right on, brother.
Good evening.
Oh, is that Clark? Man, you're like PW here.
The output devices in the 7610 are RD100 HHF1C-501. Only one of them went bad. So I think they're 100 watts each, so you know, to run them 50% in the radio. They were under $100 for a pair.
Those are LD Moss?
No, I think they're FETs. I don't know. RD. I don't know what they are.
I think they're FETs.
Probably 50 volters. I think that's what's in here. I don't think this is their LD MOS devices in the Anon. I know they're 50 volt devices.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, it's a MOSFET specifically designed for HF high power amplifiers, 100 watt. I don't know, 12.5 volt, 30 megahertz. I don't know. 100 watt, 11.5, 12.5 volts. 60% efficiency, you know, pretty typical, I think.
CKO.
CKO. Go ahead. Isn't there a braking station? Am I hearing things?
No, well, he's up on 75, but maybe he's not receiving near here. I don't know. KC2CKO, W2PHL returning. I'm on 38, and I think everyone is on 3873. Over.
QS down a bit. QSY down a bit.
Yours are standing by.
Call now.
Okay, KC2CKO back. Hopefully I'm on frequency and now. I'm running the Kenwood 2000X here into the amplifier. So how does it sound for Ricebox?
Well, it sounds all right. How you doing? I forgot the name. Name here is Phil. Papa Hotel India Lima, located in the Bronx, and you're about 10 over. And it does sound a little bit like a Ricebox, but it's not bad.
Okay, just wanted to try it out. Yeah, name here was Paul, Papa Alpha United Lima. I'm up in Saratoga Springs, New York. So just wanted to give it a try to see how it sounds. Normally I'm on the Heathkit Apache and the National NC303. So but thank you for letting me break in here for a second.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, Paul. Oh, yeah, we've worked before. Now I recognize that your voice. Yeah, it sounds like an unmodified Apache. There you go. But good deal. Yeah, well, just hang out. You don't have to go anywhere. There's a bunch of guys in here, so I don't know if anybody else wants to give you a signal report. But like I said, you're 10 over 9 and nice clear audio.
You're hey, good evening. Name's Perry down here, W3MMR. You're a good 15-20 over S9. My noise floors are about an S8 to S9 here, so great signal down this way on the Apache. Sounds good, man. And very Q5 copy down this way. Jim, are you hearing them down in Virginia? Go ahead.
I'm having trouble with everybody in Virginia today. Yeah, try again here. CKO, you try again.
Yeah, the call is KC2CKO, and I'm not on the Apache. I'm on the a Ricebox here. This is a Kenwood 2000X here, running into a Heathkit SB1000 amp, running about 200 watts. Over.
Oh, okay, that sounds even better now. I know it's a rice box.
Yeah, he's about 10 over here. I got about 6 S units of noise though for some reason.
Sounds better than a Nikon.
You can be replaced, Brett.
Yeah, just a dig. It does though.
Are you having RFI problems, Jim? Because you can't seem to hear a lot of people. I'm just curious. Is that something new for you?
He's being directional.
Okay.
No, he says he can transmit. You know, transmitting out is good, but receiving is low. So he thinks it's a directional one way, like the RF is going north, but it isn't coming south.
How is it not reciprocal?
Magnet.
It could be a 5G.
Come on, huh?
That might be new 5G deployment in his vicinity.
You know, if you go to, what is it here? This is amateur radio usable HF frequencies, repage, refreshed every 20 minutes. If you go to this map and you look at the Boston base coverage, it always looks that way. There is a cone which extends up into the northeast and seems to prefer the path going northeast to southwest, but the gradient is steeper on the southwest line. In other words, going from Boston towards Houston, for example, than it is going from Boston to Newfoundland. And it's a very interesting graphic representation of what I am experiencing here. You know, and you guys up in the Northeast, I don't know if you would notice this effect, but I think because of my position down here in Virginia, I may be experiencing it more so than, you know, enough to notice anyway. And I certainly have noticed it since I started operating in February.
Well, that's an interesting phenomenon, Jim. I've noticed mostly, you know, complete reciprocity here when it comes to that. But, you know, when the band does, you know, come in or go out, there's definitely a wave wave isn't the best way to describe it because we're talking about waves, but there is like a sliding propagation like north to south a lot of times. But if you can hear somebody, they can usually hear you at similar signal levels. So I don't know what's going on down there.
One thing I've noticed here, like I can hear guys out in the Midwest much stronger, much earlier than guys up in, you know, the heart of New England up there. Even guys in Connecticut and, you know, I guess down that far, you know, in New England. But as far as like one-way conditions where, you know, I'm, you know, 30 over to so-and-so and I can't hear them or vice versa, haven't really noticed that here. But and my antenna seems to get out. It doesn't seem to be directional really at all. As far as, because this is inverted V up about 70 feet. Okay, so it's pretty omni. And I've done a lot of testing on WebSDRs, seeing my signal strength, like in the morning when the band's long, and I can see like my limit, you know. And it's like I get halfway across the country and then it dives off like a nosedive. I get out to Missouri, Minnesota, Wisconsin, and up to Maine, and that big circle, you know. But like, any further than that, man, it's hard.
You got to buy the upgrade to go beyond that.
I know, I got to get over the fence.
A little more RF grease won't hurt either.
Good afternoon.
How the heck are you, man?
Hey, Mr. Clark.
What's going on, fun group?
just being fun.
Madness and mayhem, like usual.
Just waiting for the Jell-O to be served.
All right, sounds good.
Lime. Today's Jell-O flavor is lime.
That's okay. I brought my own lunch.
Hey, Croc, you gotta lower your power.
What have I done now?
You're interfering with my noise.
Oh, wow. I thought I would blend right in.
Kilo Echo 7 X-Ray Lima from the rainy Pacific Northwest. Checking it.
You think that's going to impress us?
It should. We're going to send you a big low pressure system. Get ready. Get the check out there.
Yeah, it seems you already sent it. You must have put it on, one-day delivery.
Yeah, it's been actually racing across here. The low pressure system, as we're getting right now, of course, it's going to hit you, and it's stacked up all the way to
All right, you know what? When that weather shows up, nobody signed for it, okay? It'll go back to Seattle.
It sounds like the band's starting to lengthen out. Baker from Upark, and we're usually quite strong. KE7 X-Ray Lima via the South Kingston, Rhode Island remote.
Sounds like you're talking into the wrong microphone.
Yeah.
You got that taxi dispatcher sound.
On this remote over.
Oh, he's on the remote.
I can never find my remote. W2PHF.
Maybe he's talking into the wrong remote.
Yeah, it could be the wrong laptop by heart. Anybody in the group here from the Hudson River Valley? My old home.
Well, George would be a candidate for that, but I don't know. Has he been on?
Haven't heard George today.
Beautiful area.
It's so nice.
I'm going to cool off this amplifier for a while. KM4XG.
Oh, Jim, you have a really good signal. You could even just turn down the power.
On 25 watts. Transmitter question you might be able to answer. Over.
Jim, 25 sounds good, too. There are a lot of folks on this frequency you can, so why don't you pose the question and see how many different answers you can get.
Okay, I am now trying to get funding for a standby transmitter. My current transmitter works great. I just want a second one. This is an FM transmitter at approximately 1,130 watts. I really am a T-Tech, and it's not a really big company. I'm thinking of buying, if we can get the finance for it, something that's going to be around for a long time. What would your suggestion be on something that I won't find out is no longer made?
Oh, you mean broadcast? Part 7.3?
In fact, I have.
It's out of sight, it's out of mind, you know.
Support from the Canadian government to keep on going. It's been around not too long, about 50 years. And you're right, I think Gates is out of the game. What's good about Nautel is, from what I could tell, they're going to be around because support jobs in Nova Scotia. Over.
Well, there you go. That's my candidate.
I was going to suggest Ramsey Electronics.
With an amp.
You got to get that amp, that kit.
I've seen a couple of them so far. They've been at the church parking lot, KE7XL.
What was that chip? The BA-104 or 11 Explorer, something like that? That stereo FM transmitter on a chip?
Wow, I have no idea. It does not sound part accepted.
There's loads of FM transmitters on eBay from Europe. I don't know if they'd be legal.
It depends what you plug it into.
That's right.
Well, I mean, if he's going to use it for a broadcast station, it's got to be type accepted. So that sort of narrows things down.
And that's exactly why I was kidding about Ramsey. I think they were out of business, too. But, boy, I ordered a couple of kits from them back in the day.
Their stuff was lousy.
Well, if you wanted to get an FM transmitter, stereo FM transmitter, they were cheap. It was the only game in town.
Oh, no, there was Panaxis also.
Never heard of it.
Oh, yeah, Panaxis out of, what were they, California or something like that. They had a complete selection of, well, you know, fun things like that.
They still have a preamp, Ramsey preamp and compressor or something with the little LEDs on it and all. That thing didn't work worth a darn.
And then there was Low Power Broadcast, actually a company that's out of business, but they were AM transmitters. That is another company. Sure, went into those years to get on. Many pirates on the pre-FM days would build out low power broadcast, put up an antenna.
Yeah, LPB was, I don't know who got their stuff, if any, but Radio Systems ended up taking up a lot of the market. It was basically LPB and Radio Systems. LPB, Fraser, Pennsylvania, they went away. Sort of a sad state of affairs for radio and schools. But anyway, so, yeah, and then I think that Radio Systems gave up their higher power broadcast transmitter stuff, higher power meaning like 25 watts, to another company. So, yep, there's been a lot of changes over the past couple of decades.
Yeah, there sure has. I mean, I got in about 30 years after Virginia and Maryland, they really got clobbered, which is kind of unusual. So I almost feel guilty that we didn't get any. But we'll take it, because supposedly at the end of the week we're supposed to get a little bit of snow. I was in the second wave, running hum on AM and actually conversion. We had 4,000 listeners, and it was all within a few feet of the outside of the building.
Well, given that there's probably more ham radio operators on this frequency than broadcast engineers, we should talk about ham radio stuff again. N1 BCG, which is now overdue.
Who wants to talk about ham radio stuff? You act like we're on ham radio or something.
KE7 X-Ray Lima. Ham radio-wise, I got to tell you here locally, we are even beyond the age of the average ham. I believe our average age of ham here is about 75.
Well, it was 70 a year ago, so I think you're probably close. Let's talk about Drake TR-8s.
Oh, no.
Oh, is that a bad topic? Should I pick a different one?
W2PHL. No, that's a boring story.
Good thing I never heard it. W3MMR.
Yeah, W2PHL. I don't remember if I said that.
Yeah, I haven't said it in some time. Well, we up on 73, dog. We are currently transmitting on the frequency of 3873. That's more official.
KE7 X-Ray Lima, midway between Dublin and Tokyo, pulling the switch. Have a good week.
All right. Midway in Europe. KE7XL. Catch you later. W3OR.
Yeah, that location reference can backfire on you.
That remote stuff's cool, man. Anywhere in the world. And you could get on 3873 and talk to us.
I guess it sounded pretty good until you got to the last part.
I'm impressed.
All right, see, now I feel bad. There was spirited conversation going on this frequency, and then I showed up. You guys are giving me a complex.
Okay, I have a tale to tell.
Yes.
He's got a yarn to spin. Let's all sit down around the campfire and listen to Phil's story. It's Phil's story time.
Spill it, fill it.
HL.
Yeah, spill it, fill it.
All right, so it's a sad story.
Oh.
R8. I had this Drake R8. I still have it. Well, it's not in the same condition it was a little while ago. And it was a basket case when I got it, and I spent lots of quality time with it, and I got it working perfectly. And then over the years, things started to go bad with it. Audio capacitor started to leak, and it was making all kinds of noise. Put it on the shelf. And also the volume control and all the variable pots, they all were scratchy and worn out. So the thing sat on the shelf for years. And then on eBay the other day, guess what? Some guy selling brand new NOS pots for the radio. I'm like, oh my God, I'm going to resurrect the R8. So take the thing apart with the brand new pots, put it all back together, new audio caps in there. Well, here's the problem. See, Drake, I'm going to blame them. There's these ribbon cables in there. There's lots of ribbon cables. And they used ribbon cables with stranded wire instead of solid wire. So what happens with stranded wire is sometimes you get the little hairs that come off the sides. So that was problem one. Problem two is the Drake engineers put the 5-volt bus and the 10-volt bus right next to each other on those ribbon wires. They had like 20 other conductors to choose from, but they decided to put the 2 voltage rails right next to each other. Well, when the radio went on and then went off rather quickly, I did some preliminary checks and found that, this is really getting boring, no? That the 10-volt voltage regulator had 10 volts on it, and then I checked the 5-volt regulator, and that also had 10 volts on it. Well, there you go. So you can imagine what 10 volts does to all the 5-volt components, like the CPU and the EEPROM and the TTL chips and the PLL circuit. So there you go. Bye-bye, Drake R8. It was fun knowing it.
No.
Stop.
No way.
Yeah. I'll take the blame for having poor eyesight. Up close. Maybe if I had like better glasses, I may have noticed the little frayed wires when I was putting the jumpers back in. But what are you gonna do?
That sounds exactly like something that I would do.
It's probably something that most people would do.
Yeah, no good deed goes unpunished. KC2CKO. Back on the Apache.
Okay, so I guess an obvious question, which I apologize up front for, but you tried it with the wiring fixed, right? And it doesn't work.
Oh, yeah. No, I tried it. I spent a couple of hours this afternoon going point to point with different things. And yeah, it's just, there's no way that those chips could handle double voltage. So, and the display unit runs on 5 volts. There's a microprocessor there, and then of course, the main microprocessor that runs the PLL, and all that stuff is 5 volts. So there you go.
I think you need to look on eBay for a parts Drake so you can get that working again. I was kind of hoping that it would be one of those things where the 5-volt rail and all this associated circuitry would load down the 10-volt power supply so much that it may have only bumped it up a couple of volts. But yeah, sorry to hear about that. That's harsh.
Well, so the way you explained it, Phil, now let me get this, try to wrap my little noodle head around this. So since I use stranded wire, you're saying like a little whisker of one of those wires shorted out. I mean, it's the 5-volt and 10-volt supplies shorted together, and I mean there was enough. I guess the load wasn't great enough. I mean, do you see what I'm saying? Like, you would think like that little strand of wire wouldn't be able to hold the load of the entire 5-volt circuit on it as well. Or you know what I mean? Or am I just dumb?
But it's really short, so it could.
W2PHL. Yeah, there are those types of connectors where it's probably 8 wires, a ribbon cable, and there's a socket, and you push down on the plastic and you insert that ribbon cable in, and then when you let go, it grabs the conductors. So then when I was disassembling it, I pull out that one particular jumper, and lo and behold, I could see that the strands were crushed, and they were out at a 45-degree angle, saying hello. The 5-volt wire was saying hello to the 10-volt wire.
Man.
Yeah. So, but that's seriously, it is a little annoying that they put those 2 voltages right next to each other. Because, like I said, there's 20 or 25 different wires. They could have just separated them a little bit. And then they use that stranded stuff. And usually that stuff is usually solid, those jumper things. But anyway, I don't know how much I'd have to change 2 boards, and I don't think it's worth it. But you never know. If there's a parts unit on eBay or whatever, it might be worth a shot.
Well, at least you don't feel bad. I put 12 volts into the foot pedal, the keying jack of my Anon, and blew up like everything inside. $500 in damage. Okay, so don't feel bad.
I blew out the little chip that keys your amplifier in the Flex 5000, and they put 4 I/O things on a little surface mount thing, and I was very lucky to be able to order that chip and replace it. But yes, there's some dumb things, and they don't make any of this stuff to really come apart or be serviced. They don't expect people to go in there and poke around. So when they assemble it, if it works, you're good. And then it's like cars, they're not really making them so that people can fix them easily. They're making them so that everything fits in a small spot.
I did the
TR8, Drake TR8.
No, R8.
Okay.
Brad, I did that with the Anon. I had an arc inside of my Henry going from the keying line from the Anon over to key the amplifier, and it blew out the FET, the keying FET. I did it twice. I had to replace that little tiny 3-tab little sucker twice, but then I was trying to set up a remote keying thing so I could use my headset on AM and key the radio from the other room with a wireless fob. But I repurposed it from work, this little relay box. Didn't realize that there was voltage on it. and I just checked for continuity. I'm such an idiot. And as soon as I pressed that key fob, man, it keyed up the radio, and then the radio never unkeyed again.
Oh my God! Look what they're selling for.
Hey guys, W1IA. Yeah, that Drake stuff, I don't know. People pay a premium for that. Yeah, it was a little surface mount 8-pin thing. It did four or five things, push to talk and all that. And you think, like, well, why don't they just use a relay? You know, something like mechanical.
Apparently these were little relay type things that I blew up. Anyway, yeah, hey Brett, you sound better this morning. Or this evening.
To the hospital for a CAT scan, Perry. And they think nothing on the CAT, but they think I had a TIA and maybe a mini stroke. I don't know.
Jesus, old man. So you're under doctor's care now?
Well, I gotta see a specialist. Sounds like I've had a cocktail all the time. I just have trouble forming words, so screw it. I'm here. I'm alive. Being a pain in the ass. Well, then you'll join everybody else on frequency.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's just weird, you know, not being able to, you know, have it in your brain but not be able to speak it. Maybe that's a good thing for you guys. My brother-in-law had something similar. He's a mail carrier, and in the middle of his thing, he didn't know where he was or whatever. And I don't know, it kind of cleared up, and they never really knew what it was. I guess they think it was some kind of little stroke event thing or something. And then something even weirder happened. This is a couple years after that. He had a stroke in one of his eyes, and he lost the vision, like where the center of his vision in one eye. He sees like peripherally. So I don't know if it's like a stroke thing going on. So you gotta watch. Maybe take aspirin or something.
How do you have a stroke in your eye?
Well, that's what I wonder, but it, I guess like a blood vessel plugs up, and then your optic nerve, some of it dies or something.
Oh, that makes sense.
Well, Brett, if there's any consolation, you sound the same to me.
One-legged, no tail, no eyes, called Lucky.
Anything abnormal about the way you're speaking, so hope this clears up for you right away.
Yeah, I'll see. I got an appointment with the VA, and they're gonna review everything that's going on. So, yeah, really weird, but it won't slow me down. It's just at least I don't slur on CW. What were you doing when it happened? It was 2 weeks ago when it started, and I kind of a watery sound in my ears. It might have been blood pressure related. I don't know. There's a lot of stress going on, but who knows? Between the friggin' tractor. Yeah, another story, Perry. $500 worth of parts because I had to order them from John Deere for 10,000ths over for the cylinders, the new pistons and rings and freeze plugs. Mike's going to pull the freeze plugs and try to inspect the galleys. So, yeah, that's 2 weeks ago. And it got progressively worse, but I'm not out of the woods yet, but screw it. I'm not going to talk about it too much, because I don't want to turn this into the Geritol net. W1IA.
Now, hang on a second, Brent. You know darn well people can slur their speech on CW.
Yeah, that's true, Perry, but fortunately, I still understand and write down correctly, but it's pretty strange when it affects the speech process in your head.
See, he's complete. Yeah, see, everything's fine, Clark.
Actually means something.
See, Clark, everything's fine.
Perry,
You're like, you know, when people say, it tastes like chicken, it's like when people sound like Perry.
Yeah, Perry, the other white meat.
Yeah, man.
Perry drinks Perrier.
To be honest, I've never had Perrier. I remember like my grandparents having it at their house, in the refrigerator, but I never went for it.
All right, listen, you cultural eunuchs. It's Perrier.
I used to drink it all the time.
Yeah, it's like halfway between seltzer and flat water, so you don't burp as much.
Delicious. I can't afford it.
My sister and my mother are big into seltzer water, you know. My sister's got one of those soda maker things. I guess it's like a soda maker, but you literally put, you know, water into a bottle, and it's got like this hose in it. You hook it up onto the machine, it goes, and it's carbonated. It's like instantly carbonated.
Yeah, I bet the cartridges are expensive.
It instantly carbonates it?
Yeah, seriously, man. Like, it you put water in this harder, like it's a plastic bottle, but it's thicker, you know, so not as thin as a 20-ounce soda bottle or a 2-liter or something. And screw this lid on it, and it's got a hose that goes down into the bottle, like a Windex bottle type deal, but you shove it up into its home. Almost it looks like a little milkshake machine that you hook the lid up to the little nozzle, and you press the button and it goes like literally it goes, and like the whole bottle, you see the bottle expand, and then it's full of now it's seltzer water.
You know, you can do that at home much more easily with just a fish tank pump.
I got a 30-pound cylinder of it for beer making. As long as the liquid's cold, it'll go into solution from CO2 gas. It dissolves in the liquid.
Well,
I'm surprised it dissolves into it that quickly.
Oh, hell yeah. It takes me 10 minutes to charge a 5-gallon batch of homebrew.
I'm going to look it up now. I'm going to try to find it. Or I'll text her and see what it's called. I could just do that too. She might be working.
The only problem is the CO2 cartridges. They nail you for those.
Oh, so it doesn't take it out of the air. You got a pressurized thing. All right.
Here it is.
On it. And I can charge up small pop tanks, 2.5 gallons, 2 gallons, 1 gallons, 5 gallons. And the CO2 in solution is so many parts per million. There's a trick to it. But those machines are all regulated. I used to make root beer all the time.
When I was a kid, my mom used to make her own whipped cream. You had this thing that you put all the stuff in, and it had a cartridge that you plugged in like that. But I think it was nitrous oxide. Boy, we could have had fun with that.
Hey. I'll see you, Bob. We'll see you later. He goes cruising down the band. Here's you can get a spare bottle for $30, a spare CO2 cylinder, or you can exchange it for 14.
Ah, man, what a racket!
Yeah, just like what's next to us.
Yeah, back in the day, like in the 70s, my grandmother had a seltzer maker, and it used a little CO2 cartridge, which happened to be the same size as the CO2 cartridge in one of my BB guns. And my grandmother was always like, I just bought those cartridges for the seltzer maker, and there's none left.
That's weird.
Buy the Whippets, nitrous oxide. I remember as younger hippie days doing the Whippets.
Oh yeah, Whippets were big. Yeah, those were the green ones. The green cartridges were the nitrous oxide.
Yeah, dump it in a balloon and off you go.
Oh my God.
I preferred hydrogen because it lifts the balloons better.
I just
you can't use the stuff for the dentist use if you can get a big tank.
Yeah, we had a 6-foot tank one time. I'll just say, that's all I'm going to say. I'm not going to say how we got it, where it came from, and how long it lasted, but we had a 6-foot tank one time.
Did you hear about the two nitwits that got into the back of a semi-trailer and opened up, an N2O gas tank and displaces all the oxygen? They died.
Hey, Perry, if you're going to carbonate liquid, why don't you use helium? So then when you belch, you get a high voice.
Band's going along. I guess I get in and get out of here quick.
I was noticing that too. Phil and Clark are really starting to fade. Brent, you're okay still, but the band is definitely up and down. Where'd Jim go? Wasn't Jim like cooling off his amplifier, putting it in cool down mode?
He was on 25 watts at one point. I heard him just fine.
There he is. On 25 whiskeys.
Yeah, well, I'll survive. I gotta find out what's going on. But I'm happy. It was bloody my wife's birthday, Perry. Son of a bitch, you know. I said I better not put this off any longer. So we spent the whole day at Parkland. Got out of there, came home, went to dinner over at the Derry Tavern. Oh my God, the food is fantastic.
Yeah. That sounds good. I actually was listening. You sound better than you did last night. I was listening to you and Timmy on 160, and you sound like you had a half a bottle of Jack Daniels in you, man. So yeah, you definitely sounded like an improvement over yesterday. So glad to hear, man.
Yeah, thanks, Perry. I'll be all right. It's just when I get tired, it's just really strange. Yep. Can't say words with multiple syllables. Here on the goiter net.
Talk so much longer yesterday, and now tonight we're getting ushered out by the ionosphere early. That's bushy.
That's bushy. That was hilarious.
Isn't that great? All day today I was using the term bushy in front of other people as much as I could.
The ultimate inside joke among friends, you know. I was just laughing thinking about it. Gordon had me in stitches.
I told them, they're like, what do you... Bushy, you don't know what bushy is? They're like, no, what language is that? I said, it's masseuse. It's masseuse for, well, you know.
I just put in a few more quarters. Hopefully the band will start getting better.
WTGR. Uh-oh. He's back. Now that is Boosie.
Yeah, Boosie. It'll come back. It's going to take a half hour.
Good evening, gentlemen. I'm just running low power for a moment. But, Brent, we were having dinner downstairs, and we heard what you were saying. We just wanted to wish you well, buddy.
Thank you, Gordon. Yeah, I'm on low tap. I just haven't thrown the switch. Here we go. More power, Captain. Screw it. Have a great night there, Gordon. We'll catch up with you later.
Oh, well, we're going to be here. We're in the shack now. We're done with dinner. But hang in there, buddy. You'll be better soon.
Yeah, my doctor full of bushy.
Yeah, you need 20 grams of bushy every day.
I get all the bushy I want on 3873.
That's a bushy. Come on.
Oh, we dispense bushy like Pez on this frequency.
Hey, now.
You want number 7 with happy ending?
She called it a happy landing.
Happy landing. I may go to 160 and hang out there for a while. W1IA, take care, guys. I'm going to go down band.
Have a good one. Might be there for a while by yourself.
You never know. There's a few people that always listen on 1885, so you never know.
That's true. There's guys that get on 1880. pretty early every night too. So catch you later, Brent. W3MMR. Good evening to Gordon, if that's Gordon out there.
Yeah, 7-3, Brent. Sorry to hear about your problem, and I hope it clears up soon. Get better, old man. Catch you later.
Yeah, thanks, guys. I'll be fine. You just sound like a drunken sailor all the time. Talk to you in a bit, W1IA.
Have the finest business evening. N1 BCG.
W2PHL. Yeah, what's going on with the band, man? It's here, it's not. There, it's gone. That Bushi.
Yeah, it's pretty, it's like it's halfway long right now. It's not really much QSP, but you guys really aren't that strong. I want to look at the solar flux. Low, and the A index is low. Good evening.
You know, that brings up a good point. They should have those exploding ink cartridges with the solar flux, and then, you know, we can tell where it went.
Yes, the band is indecisive, like going out to dinner with the YL. What do you want to eat? I don't know.
Oh, you have that too? GOR with a little more power.
Yeah.
The other way.
All right, let me turn it off.
Bye.
Is this better?
See ya.
1, 2, 3. Is this better? Low power?
Wow, you guys are all piss weak now.
Yeah, but Gordon's just messing with you.
All right, this is the ground plane. This is the ground plane. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And this is the Sturba curtain. Which is better? Over.
Well, hello to Timtron, if that's Timtron out there. Yeah, the stubborn curtain is better.
Try the wire array.
I can't find my lighter.
Where you last put it?
I found it.
Yeah, Gordon, the ground plane was not making it happen, but the stubborn thing was good.
It's a stubborn curtain. Every time I pull it, it falls off the curtain rod.
Well, that ground plane was walking a dog down here, but the Sturba Merba is working great, better.
Yeah, you can rename that ground plane the Bushi Vertical.
Yeah, well, it's a realistic. It's made by Tandy Corp. It's cut for 10 meters, and I put a big coil on the bottom. It's very hot.
Doesn't that sound like what we would all do when we're 12?
This is the dipole. The vertical don't work at all.
I only have 1 ant, and I'm sticking to it.
All right, I'll try an A/B comparison. First, this. And now this is me keyed up. Which is better?
It's better when you don't key up.
Okay, you mean like...
Yeah, that's perfect. Perfect. Now talk like that. Everybody quiet. Talk like that.
Is that Shane?
Yeah, I understand, Clark. Go ahead, Clark. Yeah. Yeah. Oh. Okay. Oh, get out of here. Come on. Really? This is great. Thanks, Clark.
I thought you'd like that.
All right, let's try it again. This is the dipole. And that's the dipole.
I would use both.
Man, well, you know, for me, Brent, since I'm across the street from you, literally went away and then came back.
Yeah, with the 43-foot vertical, it's not really good for 80 meters.
How's it work elsewhere where it's supposed to?
Oh, yeah, it's real good for DX. DX can't be beat. 40 and up DX, and, rocks on CB.
Really?
Good.
Yeah, it's a 0.5, 43-foot ground plane. It's on the roof. And it's got a un in the base, and it matches pretty good. Everything 40 meters and up. And, it's all that low angle stuff.
Yeah, cool. We got the aliens who have joined us. What 43? What is it? Is it the real popular one? The name escapes me.
Yeah, 43-foot ground plane. So it has 6 radials coming out the bottom. Looks like a giant CB antenna. 0.5. They make a couple of different versions. This is the big one.
Yeah, it's Tim's car. I know Tim. He's a. I've talked to him many a time. He's a good dude. Tim Lakikos. He builds a mean frickin' vertical antenna. He has like a flagpole you could put in your yard that's like an antenna. Lots of HOA stuff, man. And real good quality.
Yeah, it's a monster of an antenna. It's self-supporting, and it's a very sturdy piece of equipment.
That's what she said. So there's no guys on that at all, Brett? You got that just freestanding? How do you have it mounted?
In my house, I have a ranch house, and the garage is attached to the house, but it slopes down in the back, so I sort of have the side of the house above the garage, or there was a breezeway and then a garage, and we've converted the breezeway to a dining room, but the roof comes down sooner in the back, so you have the side of the house. So I have a U-channel, 2 U-channels bolted to the side of the house, and then I have a pipe bolted to that, and then the antenna bolts to that pipe, and the radials are just clear of the top of the roof, and it's 43 foot telescoping. You push it up and you tighten the clamp, and I think the radials are like 8 feet long. They're like 3 or 4 pieces, and the whole center section of it, the base of it, is all welded aluminum. Like the stubs that hold the radials are welded, and the thing that holds the main radiator is welded. It's a real piece of work. And I figured on mounting it on the roof, I get it above some of the stuff nearby. And it's been up for a while. It's been through some storms, and it just there's not much wind loading, so it just sits there and works.
Oh, well, thanks for the description. So you feed that with just with coax, and I guess you use a tuner inside? RG214M coax, double braided, silver plated, no tuner. Goes right into the house, and I don't use a tuner. Probably would need a tuner on some bands someplace if you wanted to use a modern solid state rig, but it matches pretty good everywhere. It's got a, like a 7-to-1 unknown in it. I think the vertical is like a low impedance, and it takes it, makes it look like a higher impedance to the coax. You could also put a remote antenna tuner at the base of it, but I think the unknown pretty much effective, and I've put 400 watts into it and it still works, so I guess it's good for the power.
Yeah, I'm looking at it now. This thing's really nice. Awfully large, but it is really nice.
Yeah, the Smug Mug has a picture of it, how it's mounted and how it is on the house. It's pretty impressive looking when you drive by. You say, holy cow, look at that.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, it's like having a tower on your roof.
A 60-foot one would be pretty cool, because then it would work on 80.
So do you have... They have the 10 to 40 meter ground plane, they have the 10 to 80. And when I look at it, it said the dimensions on both are the same, which I don't think they are. So which one do you have? Well, there's a $100 difference in the price.
Well, the 43-foot. I got the 43-foot, and the other one is a 38-foot, I think. And I, you know, good luck getting it to work good on 80 meters. I mean, 43-foot on 80 meters. I guess, you know, with a tuner or something, you could probably get something out. But
oh my God!
Like, how much DX is there on 80 meters? So, you know, I've seen reports of people say like, yeah, it even works on 160, but you know, I don't think so.
Yeah, of course it works on 160. They don't say how well.
Yeah, well, that's the thing. It doesn't really work very well on. Yeah, it doesn't. I don't think it works at all on 160, and or really on 80. On 40, it works fairly well. The further away you are, the better it works. And sometimes, like the Joe down in Georgia is much stronger on the vertical, and I give him the same signal level as the dipole. You know, sometimes, but and further away from that, probably even better. But on 20 meters and 15 meters and all that, CB, it works real well.
I got a dummy load here that works really good on 160.
Matches well.
Yeah, you know, for 160, you just need a lot of wire. That's all there is to it. You can't get too short. On 80 meters, you could probably do 90 feet, 90, 100 feet. You probably wouldn't really see too much of a loss, you know, if you had loading coils. But if you're going to talk like 80 meters is going to be a 60-foot antenna, you know it isn't going to work very well.
Hey, technical question matters.
Who has the question?
Yeah, it's a technical question for you guys.
The same thing for things that have been discussed since the beginning of mankind.
Clark, we have a question.
Yeah, go ahead, Gordon.
Who's we? Is it
What's
like
the maximum carrier this 18-gauge solid steel ladder line copper-coated can handle? Anybody know?
Can you say that again, Clark? Double with you again.
Is he doing that intentionally?
Is Gordon doubling with me? Okay, Gordon, let's hear what was so important that you were doubling with me.
Just likes to hear himself talk, I think.
Me? Gordon? I like to hear myself talk.
No.
Oh, this is getting good.
Go, Gordon.
It's not that important. All I was asking is, does anyone happen to know what the solid steel copper coated 18-gauge 350 ohm ladder line or window line can handle in terms of continuous carrier, in terms of wattage?
That would depend on the SWR.
That's a good answer.
You know, if you had like a really short antenna or something, and you had spots where you had a tremendous current or voltage nodes, well, obviously you're going to be different. But if you're at a low SWR, you know, whatever. But I don't think there's a set answer.
No, there is, because the whole idea, the whole reason for running balanced line is so that you can run high SWR on the line. That's the whole idea. And you're going to find it very difficult to smoke or penetrate a balanced line under just about any realistic operating conditions, regardless of phase or load.
Also consider that the higher the frequency, the more skin effect plays a role. RF doesn't really travel through the metal itself. It travels only on the outside surfaces.
Yeah, but you know, that's a little bit esoteric for this group, don't you think? Clark? I mean, a little bit too theoretical.
Oh, no, I wanted to drop a bomb for people to think about so that tonight I know that there's a whole bunch of people lying awake and not being able to get to sleep. That's my goal.
Well, there will be a limit. Yeah, I didn't say the limit was on, within ham, parameters, but there will be a limit.
Oh, don't try to back up now, Brett. You just blew it, that's all. Just admit it. Hey, man up. Own up to it.
All right, well, do I have it?
You got it.
Yeah, so the antenna I'm contemplating putting together is about 135 feet long. In the center, we have the feed line, which is what I described. It's a perpendicular feed line for most of the way, and then I've got some nylon rope letting it make a right turn to the house and coming under the window using a Polestar balance tuner. So for 80 and 40, I don't see the SWR being insane, but I don't know if you're talking about 4 to 1 or 40 to 1. But anyway, I just want to make sure that I can run a carrier on there or do RIDI at 1,500 watts if I want,
Oh, that'll be no problem.
Right, because with open wire feeder, as Jim pointed out, you're going to have all crazy current and voltage loops and nodes on that line, but that's the nature of open wire feeder. But if you have a Polestar tuner, a balanced Polestar tuner, that's as good as you can get.
Yeah, it's called the BT1500A. I got a couple of them here because I used to have a big antenna farm before the lightning direct hit last year. And it did a great job. I mean, 40 meters was amazing. So, yeah, I'm going to get that on there. I would love to have a 160 antenna, but the YL and I are talking. She wants it to just go step by step here after the big fire and all that. So I'm going to go with 140, 135 footer and see if it's better than this off-center fed unbalanced stuff.
Could you email me? I've got a bunch of suggestions for you on that, and we're probably not going to have enough band here for that.
That's very kind of you, yes. Do you have suggestions on this particular doublet I'm going to put together?
On making the YL happier, it's all broadcast techniques for dealing with, that nasty stuff from the sky.
You mean dealing with the psychological stuff or the nasty stuff from the sky?
Oh, well, no, I can't possibly help you with women because as a guy, I'm just as baffled as everyone else. But I have lots and lots of ideas how to very, very much, lightning resist that antenna.
Wow, that's very kind of you how you could use that. I mean, I spoke to Jay over at Ray Solutions. He sent me some lightning arresters for balance line, and presumably that would lower the charge on there to at least make it less sexy for the lightning. Over.
You know what? You can do all that, but there's some basic stuff, and then I'll just say quickly, like 2 3D ideas. One, first of all, lightning cannot go around corners or loops at all. If you look at the face of broadcast towers, AM towers, you'll see the feed line doesn't come right from the tuning box to the tower. It goes through a loop. So if you have that antenna of yours, you bring the feed line down, and say, to the ground, and then if you make a loop there, the lightning will fly off the end of the loop. It will not. The lightning will not be able to go around a loop at all. There will be some charge, but it can't do that.
There goes the band.
Are you serious? So you're saying if I make a 360-degree turn with the ladder line, which, by the way, I thought you couldn't really do, but meaning like a slinky kind of thing, that it could not follow the whole 360 and fly off?
Yeah, and I can show you pictures of how they do that. The other thing you can do, you don't even have to do a complete turn. If you can't do a 360 turn, you can, but you have to get
I'll catch you guys later. I can't hear nobody. W3MMR.
You can't hold back tuning into itself.
Rest it.
But the problem with contact lenses correcting an astigmatism is that it works the best when your head is kept looking straight ahead, or something like that. The contact lens will turn because it's gravity. It turns by gravity. It's heavier on one part of it. So if you look down or you really swing your eyes around, sometimes it'll swing out of place and I can't see. And that happens when I'm playing pickleball sometimes. Particularly with my left eye. Sometimes the contact lens has rotated a little bit because I had to do something. I had my head down for a moment, and they're serving a ball at me, and I only got one eye that's seeing clearly. The other one is blurry. So I'd like to have that taken care of. But contacts are a miracle thing, I tell you. I was never able to play any sports, racket sports, or any kind of sport because I couldn't see distance. I couldn't see depth. Just the way my eyes are. But with contacts, I can see depth very well, assuming that they're rotated correctly, which enables me to play pickleball. So that's been kind of nice. Speaking of that, boy, I overdid it today. There's some muscle that's kind of under the armpit and connects the back to the back of the arm, and it is sore as anything. If I touch it, it hurts. It's very, very sensitive. It's like it's inflamed. So I'm going to lay off. I think I'm going to lay off pickleball tomorrow, at least until tomorrow night. I have a game tomorrow night. But a friend of mine wanted to go down and play in the morning, but I played last night till 9, and then got up first thing in the morning and played 3.5 hours of pickleball. And boy, at the end of it, my arm was sore. The muscles were sore, and I was tired, which I never ever get tired doing that. I was really tired. Tomorrow I'm going to tell my friend John I can't go because I'm going to be playing Thursday night, and I want to let this muscle sort of have a good long period of rest, because it really is quite sore. Yeah, it's funny. You expect your body to do whatever you want it to do. Particularly when you're younger, it would do that. You could do stuff, and it would be fine. But well, you get older, and yes, you can do this. Yeah, it'll do it all right, but it'll tell you later on that it wasn't happy about it. WA1HLR, WA1QIX here.
Yeah, that's for sure. This WA1H no longer. Yeah. One thing I had been doing is, haven't done it lately, is going out for walks up and down the roadway here, which to the road back, to the street from here is almost a quarter of a mile, being the length of the road. But then if you do that, and you turn around, you walk all the way up to the top of the hill and walk around what I call the loop and down. And you go around the loop a couple of times, it's probably almost a mile. So when I was on my peak, sometimes I would do the whole gamut 2 or 3 times a day. Well, that was before Lyme disease. And then after that, I don't quite have the will. But when it cools down, it's just something about the lower humidity, and maybe it's the allergens, because I'm very, very lungerific in the summertime, always hocking up lungies. Or not so much in the winter months.
Yeah, I think it's, you know, my body has just become sensitive to all these allergens that are present in the growing season. So, you know, when it gets in that window of time before winter hits is best. And one thing I like...
Excuse me, dinner in about 10 minutes.
10 minutes? Okay.
I'm
Yep.
gassing on your pirate look.
You're guessing on my pirate.
You look like some, sitting in your LB chair there, you look like some captain of a nefarious ship.
Ah, arg matey. So, well, it wasn't that long ago, you know, like, there's something about walking under the cloak of darkness. And, you know, the roads are dry and all that. Then I'm out for a walk and I'm walking briskly and my foot steps into a rut because my feet are limber as far as the ankle joints and all that. Next thing you know, my foot twists to its side and boom, down I went. Landed on my knee. And, you know, I generally, you know, I wear a kilt and I had long stockings on. Well, it slammed the grit of the road through the material, and I scraped up my knee pretty badly. It just recently, the scab finally healed and came off, but, you know, it's taken about a month and a half for that to, you know, I could have been badly hurt, but, you know, that was it, was just skinning up my knee. Well, a few days later after that incident, I'm out for a walk, and, you know, it had rained, the snow had melted, and pretty much got down to bare ground. And I had a small flashlight with me, but I didn't see an area that is where my neighbor's driveway dumps into my area. It's kind of a low point, and water will accumulate, and then it freezes and whatnot. And it was an ice patch there. Well, next thing you know, bam! Immediately. It happened so fast, and I landed square on my right shoulder. And I was in pain, still a bit in pain. And for a while I had limited movement on my right arm, you know, especially when it came to getting dressed, you know, where you got to take your shirt off and all that. It would be very painful if I couldn't really lift anything of any to any height. And for the most part, I'm a lot better. But I still feel it in my right shoulder. As Marcy was poking around and we were talking about it, she said it's more or less in the bursa area, you know, where bursitis happens. I've never had a problem with bursitis before, and I hope this is not going to trigger a situation where that kind of thing happens. So now I don't go out walking. You know, I should have put clogs on, you know. But, jeez. In some respects, I understand why some people move out of the area in the winter and go to places like Florida. But me moving to an environment in another place, leaving this place alone, as far as I'm concerned and my wife's concerned, it ain't gonna happen for either of us. Besides that, we have Kiddikins the Shack. And I don't know how that shack would behave if we were gone for like a couple months. Because I'm wondering how we went feral in the first place. And having another person coming around from time to time to make sure he's fed or whatever. You know, a stranger shows up, he disappears. He doesn't come out of hiding until that person is gone. That's just the way he is. And he's a shot that likes to be outdoors for stretches and then indoors for stretches and outdoors. In the wintertime, he still likes going out, but not for long periods of time. So the only condition that could happen would be if there was a very trusted person who wouldn't mind living here while we were away. But as far as Marcy is concerned, she doesn't want anybody else living here when we're not here. We've had Terry PFY here and trying to think, he'd go by the name of Ernie. He used to have the call WA1FXU. Then he got a 2-letter call. And he's living in, I think, in Virginia. And he stayed here for a little while. I've had Chuck IIE stay here for like a few weeks here and there when I've been when we've been unable to be here, but in no position for that. So we're here for the duration. Anyway, I'll see you later, Steve. I was informed that supper will hit the table. QIX may be on 160. I mean, just lying down and chilling. Maybe it's something to watch some Terror Victim if it's worthwhile watching. This WA1HLR.
All right, man. We'll see you later. Enjoy the dinner. Yeah, it sounds like that shoulder fall was pretty bad. Anyway, yeah, enjoy your dinner. Maybe we'll either catch you on 160, maybe 75 will come back. Your signal got real piss weak in there for a while, and then it got stronger. A little bit stronger. You came up to like S9. You were down to like S5. Anyway, catch you later. 73's WA1 QIX. Was somebody there? Yeah, I do. You could stand more audio. VE1HF. Let me bring up my logging software and get you logged in. VE1HF 1HF. This is WA1QIX. Yeah, okay, get you logged in there. Oh, all right, that's better. Yeah, if you can give me a little more modulation, that would be awesome. Anyway, I am hearing you, but boy, the band is really out of it. It's definitely not short. Let's put it that way. Although you're stronger than Tim was, but that would make sense because I think you're further away up there in New Brunswick. VE1HF. Go ahead there, Daryl. WA1QIX. Yeah, your signal really came up there when you first came back to me. You were like 20 over, and then you faded back down to about S9. What's the transmitter there? Is that the IC 7300 into the linear?
Anyway, I'm going in the line in now. I'm not using the mic input. It's a 600 ohm in, but that's kind of loosely. I looked in the manual and it said 200 to 10K. I wasn't that. Anyway, so I just got to find a balance. I'm going to keep it there. So I'm using very processing right now. And I'm trying to watch the scope, and I just can't get it just right. I'll bring the audio up. Just tonal quality. Let's see what's that name? I think it's WA1QIX.
Yeah, the tonal balance is good. I'm not listening on a mega high fidelity speaker, but I'm listening on a good speaker. The tonal balance is good. You've got enough presence rise, and yeah, it's working well. I mean, the Flex should be able to. I mean, I have a Flex 5000. If the 1500 is anything like the 5000 in its capabilities as far as modulation goes, I can modulate the 5000. You know, if I set the carrier level low enough, I can I can easily achieve 200% positive modulation without over-modulating. But that's because I have a negative peak limiter. I actually came up with a negative peak limiter specifically for radios like the Flex, so that when you if you want to have a lot of modulation or a lot of asymmetrical modulation, you don't if for some reason you hit 100% negative, it won't do that fold back thing. The negative peak limiter will limit it to say 95% negative. But no, you're sounding perfectly fine there, Daryl. No, yeah, and the name is Steve. You got that right. No problem whatsoever. And yeah, the 1500. It's a nice little radio. It does the job.
especially right going on there. But this has got some restrictions in it, not bandwidth-wise, but the attenuator, when it goes into the, directly into analog to digital converter, you've got to just get it right. And once you get the reference right, and then you work from there, but it's first time out of the box for 3 or 4 units. Yeah, all new patch cables and everything. So, but I was hearing distortion when I listened in there. Of course, that could be proximity. When I brought the level up and I watched the scope, and I see what looks good, doesn't sound good. But then again, when you're in the shack and the rack, even if you short the antenna input or put a 50 ohm, stub on there, it's still overloaded the rack. There's so much RF around the area. So I'm going to bring the audio up. Hello, 1, 2, 3. I'm working with the on bringing up.
I mean, there's a lot of audio, but I think it might be starting to fold back a little bit. How are you measuring this peak envelope power? Yeah, okay, because I mean, if you're modulating 100%, and I think you said you had a 150 watt carrier, I mean, I would expect to see 600 watts peak. Yep, no, it sounds very very good. There's no doubt about it. I'm definitely running processing here. I'm running peak limiting, fast attack, not too fast decay, peak limiting, and actually there's a little bit of averaging, very little. I don't run a lot of that, and then a negative peak limiter. So I'm definitely running processing here, yay, and I'm hitting 175% positive, and I'm hitting like 95% negative. So that's working. Yeah, very interesting. Well, it sounds pretty reasonable. I don't see any issues. So I would say you've got it working about as well as you can get it without. I mean, you certainly could run some peak limiting. I don't know if you have a peak limiter there, like a broadcast peak limiter or something like that is made for the job. It might make it a little easier to run, because then you don't have to worry about constantly keeping your voice exactly right. You can yell and scream and talk softly, and the processing will compensate, which is kind of nice, because I'm all over the place sometimes with my my audio levels. Anyway, yeah, your signal strength is hanging in there. We've got pretty long band conditions. So it's definitely working. Yeah, you were talking to old Gordon there. Yeah, he's an audio guy, and he's learning more about the technology and the engineering behind these AM transmitters. For a while, he was asking me about a Class E rig. But I see Gordon as more of a plug-and-play sort of guy, so he'd probably be better off with a good linear amplifier and like his SDR, and have it adjusted so that you can get asymmetrical modulation out of it and it's clean. I'm curious there, Darryl, if you have a triangle wave generator. That's what I use for testing transmitters. I plug I stick the triangle wave generator into the transmitter, and if it's not perfect, it's no good.
Yeah, I've got a generator here
It didn't make a lot of difference. What kind of processing is it?
This is the onboard, so it's mostly rubber, but I just don't have the control. Let me bring it up a bit. This is where I think, I'm getting a lot of time. I'm not getting getting more average. I'm getting 2 power. I'm getting 575 watts there now. Definitely compression, but it's probably garbaged up by audio.
Yeah, it's definitely starting to sound distorted. Yeah, very good there, Darryl. Yeah, it doesn't require a lot of equipment. VE1HF, this is WA1QIX. You really just need a good peak limiter. And I would think if you're going to run the, an SDR or something like that, I would suggest a negative peak limiter after it, right going into the input of the transmitter. But you really just need a good peak limiter, and a decent graphic equalizer and a good microphone. You can get fancier. You can go with, multi-band audio processing. I actually built a five-band discriminate audio processor back in 1979. I still have it. It's not at this station. It's at another station that I have that is not functional at the moment. So I really should just go down and get it, and maybe decommission that auxiliary station. It's where I used to live in Townsend. It's still set up there, but it's been down for a month, and I haven't been able to get down to Townsend and fix it. So it's kind of wasting that really good processor down there that I built. So anyway, yeah, we'll see. But what you're using sounds fine, but the waveform going through the system will tell you where the distortion is coming in, which is kind of useful. You can find out exactly where that is there, Daryl. My shoulder is, no, it's not my shoulder. It's the muscle. It's a muscle in my back that's underneath the armpit a little bit and connects to the back of it kind of runs down from the shoulder to the back and connects to the back of the arm. And it is sore. When I touch it, it's real sore to the touch. I think it's a little swollen. I was looking in the mirror at it and said, that thing looks like it's swollen. It feels like it's more swollen than the other side. If I touch the two sides, it feels bigger. And that's from playing too many hours of pickleball all in a row. I played last night 2 hours until 9 o'clock. Went to bed. Got up this morning and I was playing at 8:30, and we played 3.5 hours. And I got beat. I was tired. And I don't usually get tired playing pickleball. I was really dead. So I may lay low tomorrow. There's a game tomorrow. A friend of mine wanted me to go with him to it. 3 courts, and we usually get about 15 people or so. But I may sit that one out because I'm supposed to play tomorrow night, and I need to let this muscle recover. All this stuff, huh? Too bad I couldn't just do an adjustment. Oh, let me adjust this knob, and that muscle will feel good. VE1HF WA1 QIX. Yep, frequencies in use. Stand by, guys transmitting. Yeah, VE1HF. What do you do there, Dale? Do you do, IT sort of stuff? You were talking about, putting in and installing Ethernet cable and all that. Do you do IT? What do you do exactly? Yeah, very good, Daryl. I think that's the most interesting part of IT is networking. It's in my opinion, it's it's the best part of it. VE1HF, WA1QIX for ID. It's interesting. You can do a lot with it. A lot of people don't understand it. Particularly if you're getting into something complicated. I did it for I did networking. I actually owned an internet service provider back in the dial-up days. It had a lot of T1 customers and 56K DDS, which you're probably very familiar with if you were in IT for all those years. Back before before DSL, before the cable companies were into it. So it was either dial-up or you had, 56K DDS or a T1 or a fractional T1. And we were just starting to look at ISDN. And it kind of became obvious that was not a business that was going to, be sustainable for any period of time. So I sold the company. But, back in, when did I sell that company? 1999? 98? Something like that. But that was a very interesting job. It was a lot of work. A lot of competition. What do we have? I think we had about 3,500 customers. Something like that. Points of presence. The competitive local exchange carriers had come in just at the end there, so I had statewide coverage and coverage in New Hampshire and stuff like that. Local dial from anywhere in the state, which was really great. It all came in on a T1. But yeah, networking is good. I still, to this day, even though I'm not in it professionally anymore, I still build all my own routers. I don't know what it is about that. I just do. You can do so much more with them. So, they're pretty easy to, as I'm sure you're well aware, they're pretty easy to build your own router. So I still do it to this day. But I've basically been in network software development for almost my whole career. And I think that's the most interesting part of it. VE1HF, WA1QIX. Yeah, that's interesting. That's interesting. Yeah, boy, you really saw, you were right there on the front lines of the development of automation, which you're right. When automation first came out, it was really rudimentary. I was at a station in 1970. It was 1975, and they bought an automation system. Tapes. It was on 10.5-inch reels. Tapes with subsonic encoding and stuff like that on the tape. And then they had other, they had carts for the commercials and things like that. You could put this whole thing together, and the programming was really rudimentary. It was an 8008 processor. Remember the old 8008? Before the 8080 and the 8086, it was the 8008 was the microprocessor in there, and it was this, you basically had to be a programmer. I remember programming the automation system, and I had some software, I had some programming experience, so it was basically a language. You wrote it directly in this language. There's no such thing as a GUI back then. It was all typing in ASCII characters that were basically the opcodes for the automation. They had come up with a crude language, And boy, yeah, things nowadays are great. I haven't worked with any of the modern automation systems, but I've seen them. I've seen ads for them. I'm aware of many stations that use them, and they work, like you say, they work pretty well. We're into the 99%, reliable uptime, on these things. Go ahead.
Programming, and I mean program. What I mean by that is if you build a template and you try to connect to racing programming, it's shocking what you can do with them now. With auto segue, you can of course do custom segues where the next track is always going to start. Yeah, there's so many different time-based systems. There's event-based systems. I mean, they're all pretty much event-based systems now. You do it right once, and then you do it again for a million days. So you the product, and you do the exact base point, and then the processing will automatically just release the date on the previous item. I mean, it just sounds so alive. And all the stuff, most of the stuff I was doing, any of the on-air stuff I was doing, which was over 2 hours a week. I hear the fade in my headsets. I hear the fade of the song. I know exactly what it's going to sound like when it all comes together. Exactly when to jump in on the fade of the record, the track, and then. If I want to, start the next one, and I want to do a bridge and just only speak over the first 6 seconds of the music, and hit those, they say in the business, the post. It's just all there. It's just like you're doing it live. So you can assemble a 4-hour program if you prep for it. You can assemble it, and if you get a night's sleep before, and you pay attention. You can put together something better than you can do live, and you can do it in like 45 minutes. And, the problem is it breeds a lot of laziness, in my opinion, and, I have to admit to that. That's changing that. But touch screen, where you go live assist, last minute somebody wants to request a song, you can have a screen and push it, a lot of things really soon, you hit pause, up comes the whole library. You touch it with your finger, you drop it into place, warns you that it was only played 6 hours ago, and you go, oh, well, that's okay, 6 hours ago. And, it just does everything. All integrated with a very sophisticated scheduler that just is a whole topic for another day. So it really is very, very good. But, anyway, so you can have one person hosting 7 shows and 7 different stations, and like a little DJ mill, turning out little miniature programs. Over.
Yeah, there's a chain. It's exactly what they do. There's a chain of religious stations in the area, and I think they have. I forget how many stations they have. They have 6, I think, 6 or 7. And it's 100% automated, and you're right. One guy does all the programming for all these stations, and it works. You hear it all, like iHeart 60s. If you brought up iHeart 60s or something like that. I mean, it's automated, obviously, and a lot of those are specialized stations that iHeartMedia has created. But it's very interesting how good the stuff is nowadays. I wrote a scheduler for the TV studio that I managed. That was 20. How many years ago was that? Easily 20 years ago. They couldn't afford. They didn't have any money. It was a little, community access, but really a lot of people watching it. It was a pretty decent little station, actually. And I wrote a scheduler for it, and wrote it from scratch. And I wrote it all in C and had a GUI, interface to it. You could, move programs around and enter them and all that stuff. It wasn't drag and drop. I didn't get that sophisticated. It was 20 years ago. But actually, it was more. I think it was even a little more. Yeah, maybe around 20. But they used that thing forever. When I finally left there, I said, "You guys have to buy a scheduler. I mean, now this stuff is out there. It's not expensive. We have the money. It's not like it was 20 years ago. It's the prices have come down and the quality has gone up. Get rid of the stuff I wrote. It's all old, and get a modern scheduler." And they did. And of course, it looks great. Looks great now. I mean, it looked fine before, but the modern schedulers are better. They're, like you said, they got fade, they got all this stuff, they got all these special effects. They're great.
Yeah, it's
1, 2.
Great amount. Just about 20, almost exactly a 20-year window. And of course, yeah, the electromechanical automation, you mentioned that. When I went to work for the last company that I worked for, I spent 20 years with that same company. And when I first went, we were taking over another station and in the back room, there was what we call the hazard side. The bones of one of the hard silicone, and it would actually still run. There was a guy there that sort of knew how to run it. They had a combination of and 2-hour blocks, 4 wheels to wheels, and then cars. But the same. Just like anything, it's the old adage, garbage in, garbage out. And with any automation system, it becomes so easy to, any foolish mistake is totally amplified. That's where the story is potential over a period of time. One guy that was just doing the whole idea was that the weather forecast, the weather forecast, I'm running it for 6 hours. To try to give you a little bit of 6-hour block on it. So what you're going to do is you record the max from the work. Some ragged language that said, something like, I can't believe I just did that again. Not one that puts out and just recapture the audio from 1 hour to the next. So, yeah.
Hey, Roger, W4, kilowatt radio.
And I remember when Roger and the building was just an honest got lazy and replicated the same thing over and over. So, anyway, believe it or not, he didn't put his machine. And there's no story for him because he was a good guy. So learn is a very important lesson. Once you create something, you can do it over and over again until you get that skill mastery. There's some pretty good stories to tell. Another
Yeah, very good. Is there somebody else that wants to join the conversation here? It's WA1 Queen Item X-ray. Yeah, VE2 KGK. WA1 QIX. Yeah, very good. Yeah, very good. Yeah, you're coming in fine. I don't know if you and Daryl are going to be able to hear each other because the band is long. The short skip is not doing well. But I'm hearing you fine there, Ken. Let me just find out if Daryl is able to copy you at all. You copying Ken there, Daryl?
I know. I talked to him before a number of times. He's up in nothing here at all, which is unusual. I think there were at least more.
Yeah, what was that, Ken? You know, which rice box is it? I know you've got a Ranger that you used to run into the linear, but obviously you got the rice box going. Well, that was going to be my guess because it sounds like a 7300 into a linear. Yep, they all sound kind of similar. No, you're doing fine there, Ken. Of course, Daryl is too, but you guys are close to each other, well, relatively speaking, as far as the band is going, and so you're probably not hearing each other. I actually have to sign out for a few minutes. I'm not going to be gone for forever, but I'm going to probably be gone for 10 minutes. I gotta take care of something, so I'm going to have to say 73. So I'll just be in the listening mode. And Daryl, it's been a nice, interesting conversation, reminiscing about some of this stuff, and I'm talking about things that you see in broadcasting. And that's funny about that guy. He shouldn't have gotten fired. Unless and I know a lot of people. If somebody makes a mistake, fire him. It depends on whether the mistake is something that he's likely to repeat, or if he learned his lesson and he will never, ever, ever, ever do that again, and he'll be out there telling other people not to do it. Because that's a lesson learned. And there's no reason typically to fire somebody unless you've got to have a fall guy, like they do in politics. They need somebody to blame, But typically if somebody makes a mistake and they understand the gravity of how bad the mistake was or how stupid it was, and they feel horrible about it and they'll never do it again, you keep them on because that's a lesson learned. Anyway, I'll throw it back to you there, Daryl. I will be listening completely, but I won't be able to transit for a bit. VE1HF and VE2KGK, WA1QIX. Okay, I just ran back in. All right, 7-3's Daryl. I guess, Ken, you're not hearing Daryl at all, so I'll toss it over to you. And I'm going to disappear for 10 minutes, but I'm listening. VE2 KGK, WA1 Queen Item X-ray.
Daryl's making it to Boston. Yeah, let's get to Boston.
Well, I mean, I got a tiny antenna, so the fact that I'm hearing you means you're strong.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, VE1HF. Let's see, I'm about 100 miles from the main border over at the province of New Brunswick, over.
like when 5G rang. So thick that I didn't think I was going to make it. But the light you they had out there, I came in, of course, now I'm on the ground in a thick fog. It took me more time to find the terminal on the ground than it did to fly in from Halifax.
Yeah, well, St. John is probably one of the foggiest cities that you'll find on Canada's East Coast. I mean, we don't even like to drive there, let alone fly there.
Well, the only reason I made the approach was because they had a really strong rabbit. So the approach, like, really bright and strong. No, just that once. A1QAR. There's a kilowatt 1 in front of that QAR part. Maybe we should stand by here. There may be some other folks trying to run some traffic. Nothing heard. Yeah, I'm about 8 miles west of Boston in the town of Newton. Yeah, the traffic here isn't for wimps. And then you got the Cross Bronx Expressway. I don't know how far south you went. And then, of course, you really want to go into the big leagues. Get down to Virginia in a snowstorm like just what happened. All right, X-Ray Golf, you're getting louder and louder, and unfortunately, I'm missing New Brunswick now. You're just about gone. I think the band's gone long, so it's time for the 73s up north. X-Ray Golf, dump it in there. Strong, then he took a fade. QSL northwest of D.C. Name's Ted, tired every day, and I was going to go upstairs, but let me stand by for one more. And there's other folks that need the channel. Drag your feet a little, Jim. Over. Oh, nothing heard. Go ahead, Jim. Well, we're getting stymied by conditions, so if you want it, you can have it.